trying to figure out where I gotta go because I'm new to Las Vegas. Hey gang, this is Mike with My Real Estate Dojo, and today we're going to be talking about, what's the title?
Creative real estate investing and the number one ditch you have to get over.
That's right, creative real estate investing and the number one ditch, the number one hurdle you have to get over. Now, many people think that you gotta find funds. That's the number one ditch you have to get over. Or many people think that creating leads is the number one ditch that you have to get over, which I think this one is a lot better option than funds, okay? Many other people think that they gotta have title companies or contracts or X or Y or Z to have success in it. But the number one ditch you have to get over is your ability to communicate with the seller and build a bond with them. So 10 years later, 5 years later, you still remember them like a friend. You still remember their story, their relationship. Now, it might be, a 2-day relationship, or it can be a shorter one, but you got to build some kind of bond with them. Without that, you're not going to get deals. Now, creative real estate investing is totally different than, let's say, buying from the auction or buying from at HUDs. With creative real estate investing, we're dealing with the sellers direct. And the hardest part for me is in this business is to sit there and listen to all these sellers, because as a real estate investor, I look at myself as an ER doctor. I'm an ER doctor. Every client that comes in, they're in distress. They're having problems, and I have to be compassionate to that problem. I have to put my interests aside, okay? It's not what Mike wants anymore. It's whatever they want. And I have to invest time into this person. I may end up sitting there talking to them, or actually they talking to me. I'm just listening. I do very little talking for an hour, 45 minutes, sometimes more, okay? Every deal that I've gotten over the phone conversation was at least 45 minutes or longer, minimum, okay? And so you got to invest that time into that person and bond with them. What some people call building rapport. But when we hear like somebody say, hey, let's build rapport, we don't really know what that means, okay? We think it means that, well, let's talk about the football game, or let's talk about something that's interest to your heart. But really, it's not. And it's more than something that's interested to the seller's heart. It has to be something that's interested to the seller's heart, and something that's you have a good relationship in that. You have interest. Let me give you some examples. I was talking to 2 sellers today, or 3 sellers actually. One seller lost her husband. They live in the country. I have nothing. You think I would have nothing in common with them? Nothing. So how can I build rapport with them? She was talking about her husband passed away, blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to her, and she talked about how they're the type of people that, have all these rooms. I was just wondering, why do they have all these rooms and they build an additional to their home? And I was like, why do you guys have all that stuff? She said, well, we're the type of people that just takes in our family members when they come in hard times, and when we run out of space, we add space for them. And I said, well, damn, that sounds like my mom. She was sick on her deathbed, has gone to chemo, and then she would invite people over out of the countries, refugees, and provide homes for them and food for them. And I'm like scratching my head like, what? So I told the lady that, right? So we bonded right there, because her and her husband have the same exact value system as my parents, but I'm sure if we looked at each other, we look totally different. So my really job was to sit there and listen to her deeply, like my dog looks at me deeply. He's like so deeply, right? And have my soul bond with them in one way or another, because we're all the same, okay? It doesn't matter what our skin color is, what our belief system is, I'm sure I have so many different belief systems than she does. I just happen to have that one belief system that, hey, my parents and your parents, and then bring it up. So the very first hurdle that most people have to get over is not to look over the numbers, right? The numbers doesn't matter. Okay, it doesn't matter what the house is worth. It doesn't matter how much equity it has. It doesn't matter how much repair the house needs. Those are very important. I'm not saying they're not, but in the reunion of creative real estate investing, dealing with motivated sellers directly, those things take third place. First place is you and the seller bonding. If that doesn't happen, all the other stuff doesn't matter, guys, okay? Now, some of you will say, well, Mike, well, if the house is worth 100 and they don't have any equity and how can you make any money? Don't you need to know that information? Yes, I do need to know that information. But I have situations where I can still make money if the house is worth 100 and, you know, and they owe 100. I'll still make money, okay? Or I'll have people in place where I can feed and they'll scratch my back. So I'm not worried about it. So the point I'm trying to say is, once to bond with someone like soul to soul, you got to put that money shit aside. You got to say, look, dude, I'm going to work for free. I'm going to help this person out regardless if I eat or not. And you got to know that the universe is going to take care of you. And that's it. And you can't just have faith and you can't just have a belief. You just got to fucking know it, man. You just got to 100% know it, that if I help this person, if I help that other person and I bond with them, A, that I'm going to get the deal, and then 2, if I don't get the deal, something as good is going to happen to me down the line, so I'm not even sweating about it. And that's the only way you can bond. If not, you're just building rapport, and you're really not bonding. The soul and the soul's not bonding together. Every seller that I've ever bought a house from, if I see them, I remember their story. Awesome, guys. What I was saying is that you almost have to be like a priest when you talk to motivated sellers, because they're going to come to you and they're going to confess their sins to you, like, hey, I'm behind on my payments, hey, my kid is sick, hey, I lost my husband, hey, this, hey, that, okay? So you can't be judgmental, and you can't just focus on you making the money, because these are very, you know, souls, man. They're vulnerable people. They're just like you, and the more you can just try to help them out, and, you know, my sin is that when I meet motivated sellers, I end up giving them more than I should as an investor. But man, it always just works out fine for me one day or another, guys. It's like, but truly, I end up giving them more, because if I could connect with them and I could meet their soul, I think if I could give them just a little bit more, or pay for this or do this to help them out, then I do it, because I put myself in their situation. Does that make sense? Truly. And so the most important thing is your ability to build a bond with the seller without you being greedy, and you're thinking about you and you want your money. And if you can do that, then everything else is going to be easier when dealing with creative financing, where you get homes with no money, or you get homes with just $1 to tie them up. You can do subject to creative financing, non-recourse loans, master leases, whatever you want. It all starts with you bonding with the seller, and the numbers, how much repairs it has, what the comps are, DOM, the days on the market, all that stuff is third place, second place. The very first thing is dealing with motivated sellers is you being able to build a bond with them. And the only way to do that is by you really caring and loving them and truly caring. If you just kind of half-ass it, you just want your own money, and we all have to pay the bills, guys, but you just can't, right? And the more you can do that, the more the seller's going to feel that, and the more deals you're going to get, okay? So the very first hump on the road is you throwing over your ego, you throwing over your belief system, you're throwing over your money, saying, hey, I want to get this, I want this, I want this, and truly helping out that person that's in a tough situation, because all of them are in a tough situation. We're like in the ER, okay? I feel like I'm in the ER. I talked to 3 sellers today. One had lost his husband. The other one has some sickness, neural sickness. It's just like continuously situations where we're dealing with people that are in hard situation, and if we could just provide compassion and passion for them, right? And help them out, even if we don't make money or if we don't make as much as money as we should, right? I can make 60%, 60,000, but hey, I give them extra 20 and I got 40. Man, somehow it's going to come back to you, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. So like, once you're able to throw away your self wants and focus on the seller, then the numbers doesn't matter, how much equity has doesn't matter, because there's all kinds of strategies that you can apply, even if somebody's upside down. Or if they have equity or no equity, there's strategies to apply. But the hardest part is throw away your ego to find that motivated seller and build a bond with them, guys. Thanks for watching. Sorry we had some internet problems. Hustle and bustle. Don't take no for an answer. See you.